Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Recently, there has been a rise in terror incidents in different parts of the country, especially in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province and Balochistan province also. And the federal capital Islamabad was also hit by a suicide bombing that resulted into loss of life. Ever since that suicide bombing attempt, the security red alert is in place in the federal capital. The top leadership of the country, including the president, the prime minister, foreign minister, defense minister, interior minister, information minister, as well as the chief of army staff, General Asim Munir, have condemned these violent terrorist activities going on in Pakistan in different parts of the country and have expressed the resolve that the entire nation would be united to wage war against terrorism and defeat it completely. Now, a National Security Committee meeting was held today with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in the chair, which has vowed to respond to terror with a full force. The participants of the meeting also said that no one would be allowed to harm the national interest of the country. Now, NSC meeting will continue also on Monday, on the 2nd of January, and further decisions would be made in the light of the proposals and the recommendations made today. Now, what is actually required for Pakistan in order to deal with this resurgence of terrorism across different parts of the country? And what should be expected from the international community and also from the United Nations and the major world powers in order to see their cooperation in this particular domain, and what should be expected and how to engage with the Afghan Taliban, who had the commitment, according to the Doha peace deal, that they won't allow their soil to be used against any other country. It also calls for an important question to be discussed: the need for employing the non-traditional security concept besides the traditional security concept. What's the importance of that? And to look into all these questions, we are honored to have been joined in the studio by Brigadier Retired Shahid Jagir. He's a senior analyst. Brigadier Jagir, thank you very much for your time, for being on Views on News. We really appreciate that. And on Skype, we are being joined by Mr. Mustafa Abdullah Baloch. He's expert foreign affairs. Mr. Mustafa Abdullah Baloch, thank you very much for your time, for being on Views on News. Really appreciate that. Let me begin the discussion with you, Brigadier Jagir. How significant and timely today's National Security Committee meeting is?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Now, the year which is going to end tomorrow has been the bloodiest year for the KPK. About 155 people have been killed, 116 people have been killed, and 155 attacks. Second, that at this time when the country is going through financial issues, these attacks not only hurt our security but also hurt us economically in the backdrop of the foreign direct investment. So it was the need of the hour for all the high-ups of the country to sit together and chalk out a plan, revisit their strategies, revisit the foreign policy toward Afghanistan and to the other involved, those who are suspected to be involved in this issue. And also, as the Army Chief General Asim has said, that we will take the battle to their ground now. Now, this is a big wording as far as counterinsurgency, the counter-terrorism operations is concerned. And if that happens, he says that no one would be spared. Now, that is very important. The first part is that that means that we would not allow them to peep into Pakistan, one. We will hit them in their ground. And third is that their facilitators, their sympathizers, their known people in whichever capacity they are in Pakistan, they will also be taken to the task. So having said that, The timing of this is these attacks, especially the attack which happened in the CTD office in Banu. You know that a day before that there was TV show on the CNN of TPP leader Noor Wali. And then there is talking of the foreign interest in these incidents. West is creating a situation where CPEC should not go ahead in the China and the Europe and the Western world rivalry, and this has given India, despite of their Hindutva ideology and all that's going on in India, a fresh breathe to destabilize not only Pakistan but create stumbling blocks into the CPEC way.
So Brigadier Jagir, we've recently seen that the US, one of the major Western powers, has expressed unconditional support to Pakistan in order to deal with the threat of the banned TTP. So that is very categorical and kind of a stance from the US side also. So as you have just mentioned, that there is an interest of the Western countries to create instability over here. How does that go with that particular unconditional support by the US?
That's what's very interesting. If you read the document of containment of China policy, they will do anything which hamper the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. And the CPEC, which goes to Balochistan and part of FATA, they want to, they can't stop it, but they want to create a situation where it becomes unpredictable,
right,
for the movement over there, for the development over there.
Right. Let me bring in Mr. Baloch into the discussion also. Mr. Baloch, today's NSC meeting, what sort of a message does it send to the terrorists, especially when we talk about a banned Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and certain banned outfits in Balochistan also?
Well, actually, the meeting held today by National Security Committee holds quite significance because, as we saw, there was quite a consistency in the attacks, first in Bannu, then in Islamabad, and there's always a method behind madness, you know. So whatever was happening, it was quite alarming, and I guess that was the reason why all those stakeholders today sat together on and discussed and decided to respond with full force, which is need of the hour. And because Pakistan is already going through, tough phase of economic challenges, and we can't afford any sort of destabilization in the country. And law and order has been always a matter of concern for Pakistan. And one thing I would like to say that the West and especially the US should take this thing seriously also, because if Pakistan is getting destabilized, then the whole region will get destabilized. And the way they left Afghanistan after 20 years of war and terror, and they left Afghanistan on their own, not realizing that after leaving Afghanistan, to those people whom they were fighting against, the same people are now ruling the country and creating, challenges for the region. And Pakistan has already suffered a lot. So we lost 70,000 lives. We still have the pain of the bruises and the wounds of those martyrs that were killed in APS attack. And we can't forget how we lost a brave leader of Pakistan, Shahid Mohtaram Benazir Bhutto, in the terrorist attack. So we are hopeful that the West and the NATO and all those stakeholders of the region and the world would realize that it's not just Pakistan that is facing these challenges, and it's about the whole. It's about the whole region and the whole world, because naturally they can't just leave Pakistan like this. They need to support Pakistan economically and otherwise also, because Pakistan cannot fight this war alone. It's about the peace for all, not just peace for Pakistan.
Right, your point is well taken, Mr. Baloch. Brigadier Jagir, recently we saw the 254th Corps Commander Conference in which it was resolved to fight against terrorists without any distinction. Now, looking upon this particular thing, fighting the terrorists without any distinction, what does that depict?
Well, this was a message given to the West, because they talk of that we differentiated between the good Talibans and the bad Talibans and the good TPP and the bad TPP, and it was basically to snap that propaganda. Look, Pakistan is looking for its national security. We have to safeguard our own national interest. If national interest will be threatened by anyone, we will definitely go out for against him and take him down. Now, that is one. Second important thing is that it means that all those who are facilitators, the financiers, the masterminds, like Hafiz Gul Bahadur and Maulvi Sadek Noor, which are basically Hafiz Gul Bahadur is from the Dawar tribe, and these are they are the one, those who have the connections in the FATA. So all those who are facilitating them in accommodation, in provision of money, in provision of weapons, in provision of such type of aid, they will be taken to the task, and they should be taken to the task, because a few hundreds of TPP people living in different part of ex-FATA, if the locals join hand, well, they can't do. They have the support of these, and they may be a time comes that you see a crackdown very soon on those people also, that those who are the sympathizers of them. That was the message which we wanted to give, that we will go all out against them. And as in the Corps Commander Conference it has been said that TPP and the terrorists are the enemy of the Pakistan. So that means that there is no love like for them, no what you can say is that a feeling of being brothers in any way, but that now army and the political government which is presently heading the country are bent upon eradicating this menace from the roots out of the country.
Right, Mr. Baloch, your take regarding this particular resolve expressed at the 254th Corps Commanders Conference, the fight against the terrorists would be without any distinction.
We are very confident about the strength of our brave Pak army, and General Asim Munir has been very clear-cut about this situation, that he will not tolerate any sort of terrorist activity in the soil, and we are quite capable of fighting the terrorist groups, and we have the experience, be it Radul Fasad, be it during the war on terror, we were the ones who were in the front line. So the Pak forces are always ready to secure the country. And this time it's a good thing that the political government and the Pak army are on the same page, and they have a clear cut resolution about how to deal with these sort of uncertainties, be it economic challenge, be it law and order challenge, be it the recent floods. The Pak army was there with the local governments and at all level. So we are sure that Pakistan will you know face and all these challenges swiftly, and the Pak army will definitely give a strong response to all those evil eyes.
Right. Brigadier Jagir, we have been hearing from the interim Afghan authorities that they would fulfill their commitment as per the Doha deal, that the Afghan soil won't be allowed to be used against any other country, especially when it comes to Pakistan. Now, some media reports suggest there had been an utter denial by the spokesperson of the Afghan Taliban, Zabiullah Mujahid. He said that the impression that the TTP has safe havens on the Afghan soil is incorrect. How do you analyze this particular denial?
Look, not only he, as I told earlier, the TPP had, Masood has also said that we are not using the Afghan soil. But we have to see it from two angles. Yes, the Afghan Taliban, who are heading the Islamic government in Afghanistan, we helped them from the last 40 years. It's their duty that they should help us in hunting down the TPP, Daesh and the Khorasan group. It's not only for us but also for the world at large. One. Second, we have must bear in mind this thing that the Taliban government, because of the financial pressure they are going through and other restrictions on them, they are not fully organized. Their the police force is not organized. Their intelligence system is not that effective. And the third thing is that they have the religious clergy at the top, which have fought the war, and they also need some relevance. So these are the few of the things which are probably, if looking at the positive angle of the thing, are happening their effort for hunting down the TPP and the terrorist against Pakistan. But nevertheless, it is very important for the Pakistan peace and the world peace at large to eliminate these safe havens in Afghanistan with the help of the Taliban, and the world community should also play their role in eradicating that, because this small group which is confined into the safe havens of Afghanistan, if allowed to grow, breed, it will become a problem for the Western world tomorrow in a big way.
Right, Mr. Baloch, what do you think had to be the responsibility and especially the practical role of the Afghan Taliban after the international troops withdrew and they had the commitment that the Afghan soil won't be allowed to be used against any other country? Pakistan did massive operations and the militants, especially from the TTP, ran towards Afghanistan and took safe havens over there. So it happened to be the responsibility of the Afghan Taliban, no matter whatever the constraints they were faced with, to fulfill that commitment they had made to the international community.
See, I would agree with Brigadier Saab that it's a core responsibility of the recent Afghan government, but also they are not well equipped. After 20 years of constant war in Afghanistan, they don't have anything left. They don't have a proper army. They don't have a proper police. They don't have proper intelligence. They're just on their own. So I think the international community holds responsibility in this. The US especially because they were the ones who were here, and they should at least in this situation when the one government is unable to resolve these situations, so they should come forward and at least guide them or at least help them and create a better environment for this region. And as Brigadier Saab said, that the safe havens of the terrorist groups should be identified and should be cleared up as soon as possible, because if we can't let them grow, because if they are if they are expanding, so that will be a matter of concern for the whole world, not just Pakistan. So again, I would say that those who were here for 20 years should come forward, and I guess this is a tough situation and tough time for Afghanistan itself, for the people of Afghanistan. And Pakistan has always stood for the locals of Afghanistan and supported the Afghans. And we have more than 1.5 million refugees in Afghanistan. So Pakistan has always tried to support Afghanistan in all means. But still, we have also our own challenges, and we have to face our own challenges. So we can't tolerate instability in our own region. So naturally, the foreign minister of Pakistan, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto, has created a very good, you know, stance and created very good position across the board in all the countries, and he's trying to fill the gap that was left quite empty during the previous government. So that's what the foreign minister needs to do. So he's trying to engage all those countries who have been interested in this region during one war. So be it the economic crisis, be it the Afghan crisis, or be it the Kashmir issue. So I guess this time also we are quite hopeful that Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto will try to negotiate with and make the West realize that this is the right time for them to stand with Pakistan and Afghanistan and create a better environment for the people of this region.
Right, your point is well taken. We are joined by another participant in the show on the phone line, Mr. Irfan Ghori. He's a senior journalist. Mr. Irfan Ghori, thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Now, when we talk specifically about the National Security Committee meeting held today, what's the significance and how timely do you think it is? And what sort of a message, the kind of resolve that has been expressed in this particular meeting to the terrorists in particular?
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, it is. I think this was the time that the highest forum on such issues it met, and the statement that has been issued so far, it's been made clear that the security forces, we are going for some kinetic operations now. The meeting is going to continue on Monday as well. But the thing is that if we recall in 2014, when APS attack happened and we came up with that national action plan, I hope that in that meeting the participants, which is of course the highest, the leadership of military and the civilian leadership, they must have reviewed that what was the progress that we have made during all those years. Because when we talk about 2014 and now we are entering into 2023. So this was, I think, very long time that because the policy that we have been carrying out right now, when there is a surge in militancy, then we come up with something and then we forget about it. But the elements and that ideology and those people affiliated with that, unless we have to work on those things, I don't think that, only the kinetic operations are the, intelligence-based operations. Yes, they are. They should be part of that. But we have to go, I think, much beyond that. And then we would also have to look that in Afghanistan, when we talk about Afghanistan and we say that, at the time when the Taliban came, we all welcomed them. But the dilemma is that those TTP people, we have been asking Afghans to help us. When I say Afghans, I mean the Taliban. But since They are their, you can say, ideological allies, you would say, or they have their own compulsions. Maybe they think that if they take action against them, they might end up, into joining that the Daesh. It's a very complex situation, and I think now it is time that we have to decide once for all that where we would be heading, because at one time we go for negotiations, and then negotiations with whom? There are not one group, two groups. I don't know how many groups there are. And,
Right, your point is, Mr. Ghori, your point is well taken. You already mentioned that the meeting should also look into going beyond the kinetic means in order to defeat this particular menace. So what do you suggest? I mean, looking into other domains which are connected with the securitization, there are certain theories that suggest that political security, economic security, environmental security, and societal security and military security are 5 major dimensions that actually ensure securitization. So which area do you think particularly should be focused upon besides keeping the traditional concept of security intact?
I think these all areas, of course, that you have mentioned. More than that, I think it is the extremist mindset and the mindset that is producing those people. And to one extent or the other, we have been either we have been either silent, or in some cases we have been compromising on such things. We have to be very clear now that if it is militancy or the extremism is not only that if there is a suicide attacks taking place, or our security forces, the attacks are taking place against them, but within your society, all the extremism, even the hate speech, they were all part of, that national action plan, if you can recall. So we haven't, I don't think, much progress has been made on those points, because within our society, there are so many elements that still support those jihadi activities.
What needs to be done? What needs to be done in order to implement the relevant clauses of that national action plan in order to eliminate the radicalization and spread of extremism? Does it owe to reforming and restructuring the educational curriculum, or does it also call for local community-driven peacekeeping initiative also?
There can be many. The curriculum, of course, it is one aspect. But other than that, I was saying, still, within the religious, seminaries and all those, we had been hearing that there will be reforms in that, and then the interpretation. The people who have been making the interpretation of the religious, the religion in a way that have been becoming source of for these people to go to those extent. We have to deal with that as well.
Right. Mr. Irfan Ghori, your point is well taken. Senior journalist, thank you very much for joining in at Views on News. We really appreciate that. Brigadier Jagir, as Mr. Ghori mentioned, a very pertinent point. It's the time for the high-ups in the country to look beyond the kinetic means in order to eradicate that extremism and radicalization from the very grassroots.
Yes, he is very well pointed out on the thing, and I think they will do it, because you see the time given for this National Security Committee meeting is for 2 days. The basic 3 points are, the thrust points of this meeting, as far as I know. One is the economy, one is the terrorism, second is the economy, and then is the relations with Afghanistan, where we have to convince the Afghan government officials that they must take it very seriously, that any cross-border attack in Pakistan will be taken very seriously, and they should help us to find those culprits, and if they cannot find it, even I would say, why not they allow us to go and take on them by ourselves. Second thing, which is very important, which my colleagues
taking on by ourselves. I mean, there is the de facto government that is in place in Afghanistan. It is not de jure.
Some type of
if that option when we talk about.
No, I say that some way and means can be devised to have joint operations, intelligence collaborations with each other, with them. This can be one of the options that Taliban we must put across to the Taliban, so that the TPP should also know. It will send a message to the TPP that if they do anything across the border in Pakistani territories while sitting in Afghanistan, we will not sit. We will chase them. We will hunt them down. With the help of in collaboration with the Taliban.
So
the second very important thing is, which we have talked about, is the National Action Plan. In my view, National Action Plan must be reviewed at this time, because the time has passed away. We must do our best to find out where the flaws had been, which are the things in which we have progressed, why have we have progressed, and lesson learned from that. We must find out where we had gone wrong, and the set objectives were not achieved to the maximum. Find out those mistakes or the flaws in that, and the political leadership and the military leadership must sit down and find out, so that both the prongs of political prong, military prong, and the political prong must go hand in hand. That is the only solution to eradicate the terrorism from Pakistan. As we saw in the Swat, the military prong was ahead of the political prong, and there was problems in change of government, change of issue from civil to the from the military to the civil, and then taking over the responsibility. That is a very, very important thing. The third important thing is that the judiciary has to play a very, very important role. There are many terrorists which are waiting their trial, which are sitting in the different jails. Their trials must be done on speedy way.
So at that time, the military courts were established through the 21st Amendment to give the speed to that very judicial procedure in order to try and execute sentences against these terrorists. And we saw very speedy trials and executions happening at that time.
No, that's not the answer. I would say that the civil government, the civil judiciary, civil police, they must take the responsibility and do the tasks which are their responsibility. The judiciary has to come in the forefront and take on all the people, those who are there in the jails, and take them to the task. In the counter-terrorism, you don't get the ideal evidences, you don't get the ideal proofs, because nobody would like to speak against a terrorist. So a ways and means has to be devised. The judiciary can suggest to the government, civil government, that amendment in the laws, how to refine the laws, how to reframe. And
there was a provision in the National Action Plan
unless we do that,
the criminal procedure code also.
Unless we do that, whatever the army does or the law enforcement agencies do, a man get caught, goes into the jail, lives on the expenditure of Pakistan, and he is happy in that. Till when the judiciary will come on the forefront and will take them to their final destination, there will be a terror in them that if we are caught, we will not be left alone.
Right, your point is.
Second very important thing is that the political leadership must reinforce NECTA.
Right.
Their resource building, their HR, their other things. Last point I would say that police should be relieved from the protocol duties. We see that elite units people are given to the political leaders for their security, which those who are where they play a very important role in this type of a scenario. Why don't we put on the mobiles and others? And last point is that take the technology with you. It is the force multiplier. NECTA should be given the latest technology to fight
to better coordinate and develop that mechanism of better coordination among the armed forces as well as the law enforcement agencies. Mr. Baloch, when we talk about, as you already mentioned in your take, that it is owing to the capacity of the Afghan Taliban, they hadn't been able to take that very concrete action that they committed in the Doha peace deal to the international community. So rather than accepting that they are not fully capable of dealing with that threat or dismantling the safe havens or the banned outfits over there on the Afghan soil, they are giving the utter denial that such outfits are not over there, and the impression of thinking that these outfits are there on the Afghan soil is incorrect. So rather, they should fully and open-heartedly accept that they are not fully capable and should call the international community and seek its help also.
See, it's high time that Afghan government should accept and should come forward and at least condemn whatever is happening in Pakistan. Because if they don't do it, then naturally they are behind it, or maybe they are silently supporting it. So if they want peace in the region, they should come forward and at least condemn this consecutive terrorist attacks going on in Pakistan. Number one. Number two is that national action plan should be implemented and should be revised and should be reviewed, because obviously situation has changed over the years.
It was revised back in 2021, just a year before.
So it should be implemented properly, because unfortunately the country was going through uncertain political situations, and due to those uncertainty, I guess a lot of time was wasted, and a lot of money and taxpayers' money was wasted in constant by-elections and unnecessary events and unnecessary situations that was not important for Pakistan. Pakistan was already facing economic crisis, flood crisis, and the situation on the western borders, northern western borders. So that was also uncertain thing, and I guess the political forces.
Mr. Baloch, beg your pardon for the interruption. Does that particular thing call for a collective political wisdom by all the political stakeholders, and to commit that the resources are diverted in the right direction in order to deal with this particular resurgence of terrorism?
Exactly. All the political stakeholders should first of all unanimously decide that they are on the same page, because this is about Pakistan, not about any party, any particular party. It's about Pakistan. We want peace in Pakistan. If they want to flourish, if they want to do anything good for Pakistan, if they want to create a good environment in Pakistan, if they want to do politics in Pakistan, they need to at least come on same page. Before doing any sort of politics, because if there is no certainty, if there is no peace, if there is no economic consistency, then the politics is all in vain. So I guess you are right that all those political stakeholders should, first of all, there should be an all-party conference, and I guess the ruling party should come forward and invite all the parties, be it the opposition parties, and I guess everyone should come together and at least unanimously condemn what's happening, in Pakistan regarding the terrorist activities. And apart from that, I guess the political stakeholders should also, you know, uh, be given a certain kind of leverage because they are the ones who have sacrificed their lives. We have seen political leaders getting killed, by these terrorist activities. So their lives are obviously not safe. We recently saw there was a unfortunate incident with Imran Khan. So no, nobody is safe. Like no political leader is safe in this environment. So they
Right.
also need certain security. We can't just leave the political leaders like this. So be it the assassination attempt on Sheikh Mohammad Benazir Bhutto, it left a huge vacuum in Pakistan. Pakistan was left without a leader, without a national leader. She was an icon of Pakistan. So how can we forget that? And there was
Right.
obviously there was security reasons because the situation was not up to the mark over there. So the politicians and the political leaders have also sacrificed, and they also have lost their lives. So collectively, I guess the judiciary, the military, and the political elite should sit together, and I guess the situation can be sorted out.
Right, Mr. Baloch, your point is well taken. Now, Brigadier Jagir, how important is socio-economic progress and development in order to deal with this menace of terrorism?
Uh, it's very, very important, uh, especially in ex-FATA, according to the National Action Plan, which was supposed to be development, which was supposed to be done in the ex-FATA, has not been completed by the political governments. Blame game we have recently seen, without naming anyone, on the CTD attack and blame game on the efficiency of the CTD people. There is no doubt that other than Army, the civil law enforcement agencies, the KPK police has done a wonderful job. They have written a very honorable status with the blood. We must honor that. It is only possible if we develop FATA.
Right.
Give them, and I would add over here that, as I said, the word community should come up and help these poor people with the roads, with medical facilities, with education, because unless these facilities are given to them, they will keep living in the 18th and 19th centuries.
Your point is well taken, Brigadier Jagir. Unfortunately, we're short of time. Mr. Baloch, your take regarding this particular rehabilitation of erstwhile FATA in particular, and how crucial is the socio-economic development to eliminate this menace?
That's very important, and I guess after the emergence of order with KPK, we should focus on the rehabilitating all those people and providing them all those kind of facilities which there is available for the rest of the people in Pakistan. And this is very important because if you want expect something from the people, you need to first provide them the basic facilities, and they have their own way of life and their own culture and their own standard of lives. So we respect that, but we as a country, as a nation, as the government of Pakistan, we should give them the maximum support, the maximum facilities that can be provided.
Right, Mr. Mustafa Abdullah Baloch, expert foreign affairs, thank you very much for joining on Skype. We really appreciate your time, and we were honored to have been joined in the studio by Brigadier Retired Shahid Jagir, Senior Analyst. Brigadier Jagir, thank you very much for your time also. And that's all from today's Views on News. Until the next one, take good care of yourselves.